Well, answer my question. You can answer my question with a question. Do you believe that October 7th was resistance, or do you believe it was an attack?
I've answered your question, but you just want to keep, you want to have a narrow definition of how it's responded, because you've used your platform to spread debunked claims like beheaded Israeli babies, infants burned alive in their cribs, lies that were weaponized to justify the destruction of Gaza. These falsehoods remain on your website, even after being disproved. But when there's actual
Nerdeen,
evidence,
it hasn't been disproved. I have seen the footage myself. I have been in the kibbutz. I have been there and talked to the people, and I have seen.
Biden saying
I have actually seen the videos of the Hamas invaders on their own body cams. I have seen that. This isn't hearsay. It's absolute
so why did the White House walk back the claims that Biden made about seeing those same images?
I'm sorry?
Why did the White House walk back the claims about Biden seeing those same images months and months ago? Have you seen the footage of tens of thousands of Palestinian children decimated, evaporated, charred? Why aren't you speaking about those?
I absolutely have seen footage of Palestinian children losing their lives. And I'll ask you the question.
They were killed. They didn't mysteriously lose their lives. They were killed by Israeli missiles funded by the United States.
Absolutely. There were Palestinian lives that were lost when Israel reacted to the attack on October 7th. And those missiles were sent because Hamas attacked on October 7th and then went and hid cowardly among the civilians in Palestine. I hate that Palestinian lives have been lost. I hate that children in Palestine have been killed by missiles that have been sent to come after the terrorists that have attacked Israel.
Okay, so it looks like Dr. Phil is jumping on the bandwagon of the whole Israel-Gaza conflict. So we saw his interview with Cenk, where Cenk absolutely destroyed Dr. Phil. We're also starting to see his true colors here a little bit too. So a few things I wanted to say here. First of all, he said Nerdeen actually spoke up about the beheaded babies that Dr. Phil spoke about. And he said, oh, those have not been debunked. That has actually been debunked for sure. The beheaded babies never happened. The other thing is Dr. Phil is making a very, very common argument here that we've all seen and heard, basically saying that, hey, when Hamas attacked Israel on October 7th, they knew exactly what was going to happen and the retaliation. And so this whole attack is basically Hamas's fault, that the Palestinians are getting killed and all these women and children getting killed. So what we say to that is, okay, so Hamas should have known better. They knew this was going to happen. What about the fact that Israel has basically had Gaza in a siege for like the last 70, 80, whatever years? They control everything, the water, the food, the electricity, everything that goes in and out, the money, everything that goes in and out of Gaza. They have stripped them of their dignity and their autonomy. So did they not think that people would eventually resist and fight it? Israel should have known better. How's that?
There's no question about that. That is terrible. I hate that that has happened.
You could take your same argument and flip it, on its head in the reverse. The establishment of the state of Israel happened through the genocide and ethnic cleansing of the Palestinian people, something that my grandparents personally faced. And so, you could say that anything that happened thereafter was also a reaction to that. I mean,
there you go. She got it right on the money. So I also want to say, make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel. Do your part, because when you do that, this message goes to a larger audience. We are out here changing minds of people, changing their opinions. I need you to do your part so it goes to a larger audience. So make sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel. Now let's continue.
If you're going to justify it, in one way, then we can, use that same argument to justify, anything on the Palestinian side that you're against as well. So, I think it's important for us to go back to the root cause of the issue, because I do believe that Palestinian Muslims, Christians, Jews, all different faiths, different backgrounds can live together in peace as they did prior to the establishment of the state of Israel. And I think any state that needs to commit genocide in order to exist, that needs to occupy people, that needs to imprison 10,000 Palestinians, that needs to use rape as a weapon of war, which, has been used against Palestinians for decades with silence from Western media, simply doesn't deserve to exist, especially when it needs constant U.S. funding.
Are you saying that Israel is committing genocide in Gaza? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, come on, Dr. Phil. Of course, that's what she's saying. That's what basically everyone on the Palestinian side is saying. Yes, they are, in fact, committing genocide. And what? Are you going to keep her to her word or something? Is this for the record? Also, I wanted to note, so many of you guys that have watched my reaction to the Cenk Uygur and Dr. Phil's interview, Cenk was on the record. Dr. Phil got him on the record to say that, eventually Israel is going to take over Golan Heights and parts of Gaza. They're going to kick all the people in Gaza out. That's exactly what we're seeing now that Donald Trump is in office. That's exactly what we're seeing. And I want to see Cenk come back on and see the conversation at that point.
Yes, I'm saying that. And according to the
Seriously.
Raphael Lemkin Institute for Genocide, Raphael Lemkin is the person who coined the term genocide, was also Jewish, that yes, it falls under the definition of genocide.
Well, let me tell you, if they're committing genocide in Gaza, then why are they warning people in Gaza that they are getting ready to do an attack in an area so they have an opportunity to clear the area before they drop missiles in that area? Why are they warning them?
Did Dr. Phil really just say that? Dr. Phil, leave these questions, these debates to Piers Morgan. You're really bad at this. Oh my God. So for those that don't know, I actually just reacted to an ex-IDF soldier who actually spoke up about this. And he basically said they would warn areas that they're about to attack and they're about to take over. And so when they warn people that, there's that we're going to go get this area, get out of here, and they come there and some people haven't left, they just automatically assume if you haven't left, by definition, you're a Hamas terrorist. Okay, so then they just destroy everyone there, basically saying that, oh, there's Hamas terrorists there. That's how they manipulate the media. That's exactly what they do. They choose when they want to take over a spot, and then if there's people there, they could be innocent civilians. They'll just call them a terrorist and kill them all.
They're not
There's no
committing
true
genocide there.
opportunity.
Their stated, demonstrated intent to defeat Hamas, not to eradicate Palestinians. They provide food, they provide water, they provide aid, they allow for evacuations, they warn civilians before airstrikes so they can minimize harm.
Oh, Dr. Phil, are you this naive? This is embarrassing. Do you really believe everything you hear that easily? Are you that gullible? Oh my God.
They
And
don't allow for evacuations.
they absolutely allow, they warn them ahead of time, and Hamas keeps them from leaving.
Gaza is the most densely populated region in the entire world, if not, or one of the most densely populated regions. So this is just false that they, have this opportunity to
Does
leave. Even when
Hamas
they told
embed themselves
Can I
within
finish
civilian
and
areas?
respond to you?
Does
Is that
Hamas
possible?
embed themselves in civilian areas using
Again,
human
I'm
shields?
not a spokesperson for any organization, so I'm not sure why you're asking me, about Hamas. But if you're going to use the human shields argument, then you can say Israel used human shields by having people live on a border of a place that they have been blockaded, that they have put under siege for 2 decades. So when you say they give them water or allow them water, they're the ones restricting water. They're the ones who made Palestinians, live in a non-contiguous Swiss cheese-like structure where Palestinians in Jerusalem, the West Bank, Palestinian citizens of what is now called Israel cannot see each other. So
If you don't want to discuss strategy, then let's just talk about results. You say that Israel is powerful, they have weapons, they're backed by the United States, and they're committing genocide in Gaza. Between 1990 and 2022, the population of Palestine has increased from 1.9 million to 5 million. That's a growth of 155% in 32 years. Does that
why don't
sound
you
like
put up the
genocide?
definition of genocide, Dr. Phil?
Does
Put up
that
the
sound like
definition of
genocide?
Again, this argument, very commonly used, and he did not mean Palestine. He meant, I believe, Gaza. So the population of Gaza has increased by that much. And the reason for that is not because they're having crazy babies. That might be part of it. No, you don't really know. The majority of it is because people are being kicked out of their homes and pushed into Gaza. That's what's going on.
Put up the definition of genocide, because it's not just about completely killing every single person in Palestine to be calling it a genocide. It's the intent to kill people. It's the intent to destroy a nation or group by destroying their political institutions, their social institutions, their way of life. And this is what Israel's been doing to us. So I'm not even, I would go as far to say that it hasn't just been a genocide for the last 18 months. Palestinian people have been facing a genocide since the establishment of the State of Israel in 1948.
This land belonged to the Jewish people long before 1948. But I'm glad that you brought that up, because in 19...
Says who? Says who? God? Okay, who's God? Jews' God? Okay, you believe in that? In what book? Oh, the Bible? Okay, so what, everyone in that area is forced to listen to them? Dr. Phil, you are losing a lot of credibility right now. Dude, you should have just stayed out of this conflict. This is really bad.
48, if we're talking about the rule of law, you're quite right. Because in 1948, there was an establishment and it was accepted by Israel, but it was rejected by Palestine. They have had numerous opportunities to have a two-state solution since at least the 1940s.
Why would Palestinians accept giving 51% of our land to 6% of the population that was newly immigrated at the time? Why would anyone accept settler colonialism? We fought against British colonialism. We fought even against against the Ottoman Empire. Why would anybody accept willingly to be colonized?
So what do you want to happen? What do you want to happen? The Palestinians have rejected a two-state solution on 13 different occasions beginning in 1937 with the Peel Commission, the UN Partition Plan. I can go on up through and including 2020. So what do you want to happen?
I believe that one democratic state where people of all different religions can live together in peace, as they did prior to the establishment of the State of Israel in 1948, where you are not granted supremacy based on your religion. And I believe that the indigenous people of Palestine, should be repatriated, should be given the right of return as stipulated in UN Resolution 194, which none of these solutions that you just posited, in these two-state solutions allows that, as an option. I believe that there must be reparations for the Palestinian people who've lost their land, who've been languishing in refugee camps and neighboring Arab countries for decades, for over 75 years at this point, and those who wish to live peacefully among their neighbors, who wish to be part of the Palestinian nation building project, can continue to do so. We even have Jewish people in my group within our lifetime. So,
how many Jews live in Gaza now?
Well, if you're going to bring that up, Israel is actually the one who decided to withdraw their population. So,
yeah.
I don't know if I should even comment on that. Like, what is going on here? Is this real life? Dude, someone bring me on Dr. Phil. I could destroy this guy. His arguments are very shallow. At least Piers Morgan is, somewhat he's experienced in media. Dr. Phil is so shallow. This is like a regular Joe Schmo. Mehdi Hassan would walk all over this guy.
And under this context of siege, blockade, and genocide, this is just a silly argument to bring up to begin with. You cannot have peace without justice.
Okay, and Jews have lived in the land for over 3,000 years despite conquest and exiles. Modern Israel is legally recognized. It's the San Marino Conference, the UN international treaties. They've never abandoned their claim to the land, ever. And there's no independent Palestinian state ever existed before Israel. There was never a Palestinian state ever before Israel, ever.
Okay, well, Ireland and Italy also didn't exist up until like the 20th century. The concept of nation states is fairly new. Palestinian people existed. And yes, people in that region, there were Jewish people, Christian people. Palestine is a land of, the Abrahamic religions. A lot of those Jewish people actually converted to Islam, if you look at the genealogy of a lot of Palestinians.
Are you saying that Israel is an apartheid state?
Because genetic testing is actually illegal in Israel.
Are you saying that Israel is an apartheid state?
Israel's beyond an apartheid state. It's a settler colonial genocidal state.
Really? Then why are there equal rights for Arab citizens in Israel?
There aren't equal rights. There's over 51 discriminatory laws against Palestinian citizens of Israel, and you're excluding millions of Palestinians by even just focusing on them. You're also excluding Palestinians in exile like myself and Palestinians who are in refugee camps scattered across the world in exile, unable to exercise their right of return.
So let's start right there. What is it that you feel like needs to be debunked?
Well, first of all, I think the definition of Zionism that you used is not accurate to the Palestinian experience. To us, and really through the study of settler colonialism, we understand that Zionism is a settler colonial ideology that justifies the genocide and occupation of Palestine. It's not about Jewish safety. It's about land theft, apartheid, US-backed militarism. Palestinians are labeled terrorists for resisting occupation, while Zionists burn villages, kill tens of thousands of children, and get US funding to do so. This claim that Zionism is about self-determination is false, because it only exists through forced displacement, military occupation, and genocide. It's a system of oppression, just like apartheid South Africa and like all settler colonial projects. So when I call for an end to the establishment of the state of Israel, this is an anti-colonial position rather than a call for harm. Ending Israel as a political structure does not mean harm to Jewish people. It means dismantling an oppressive system, just as apartheid South Africa was dismantled. Peace comes when colonized people have justice and self-determination. And if Israel, just like any other country's existence,
was October 7th part of that?
Okay. I will literally be commenting this whole video. That's why I'm trying to hold myself back, because Dr. Phil is just embarrassing himself at this point. And I just want to remind you, please, please, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. And if you really want to help support this channel in terms of revenue, go ahead and become a member. It's only $2.99 a month, and you get these videos before everyone else, you as a member. The link will be in the description below. Now let's finish this video.
Sorry?
Was October 7th part of the dismantling of the structure?
That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm saying that Palestinians have a right to fight against the colonial apparatus that is killing us. Now,
was October 7th part of that
I'm not here to
fight?
speak to that.
Well,
Sorry.
I'm asking you the question. Was October 7th part of that? What is your position on October 7th?
I'm not here to comment on a military strategy of any armed group in Palestine. That's not, my place and what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is that no matter how Palestinians resist, it's going to be labeled terrorism. We don't have a state. The U.S. continuously blocks that. Israel continues to swallow up our land. So, any way that Palestinians resist, they're labeled terrorists.
Well, was October 7th resistance?
Was the Nakba, was the genocide of Palestinians, do you explain that as Zionism?